What's going on, guys? It's Mehdi. Now, I'm excited for you to check out this client interview in just a second. I know you've read the title, $10,000 in 45 minutes. Now, the reason I'm excited for you to watch the client interview with Manny, who's obviously worked with us for a number of years now, is when he first met us, and you're going to find out a little bit more inside the client interview, he was struggling to even close $100 to $200 deals. In fact, he was an agency owner and he was selling done-for-you Facebook ad services, and that was his area of expertise, and he was very, very good at it. Because I remember when Z, Manny, and I first met, and we had a conversation, he was amazing with Facebook ads, very knowledgeable, very experienced, but he was only charging $10, $20, $50 for his information. And this is the problem. If you're watching this right now, you might be in a position where you have really good knowledge, you have great information, but you might be extremely undervalued, just like a lot of people in our space. And Manny was one of those few people that was in no different of a position to what you might be in right now. And he's gone from that position to now closing $1,000 deals within just 2 weeks, having $10,000 a month, $15,000 in 5 days, which is going to break down in just a sec. Now, enough of me throwing a bunch of numbers at you. I want you to watch the client interview in full, because not only are you going to get a ton of value, but you're going to be able to have Manny himself reveal the inside secrets that allowed him to go from $10 days. Can you imagine making $10 in a day to now $10,000 in 45 minutes? And he's gone on to work with us as a success coach, helping a lot of our clients too. So check it out, and I'll see you on the other side.
All right, guys, welcome to this client interview. Today we have the one and only Mr. Manny Hanif. I'm here joined by my co-business partner, Mehdi Saeed. And this interview is not about us. Today it's all about Manny Hanif's story on how he got started in this industry and how he got to working with us, and now creating the success that he's done today to seeing $10,000 days, which I still think today is incredible, and some of the success that he's reached. So we're going to start off just by asking him just a couple of questions to see how he's getting on and seeing what he's been working on so far. But yeah, Manny Hanif, take it away. How you been, man?
Yeah, I've been great, thanks. Really good to be on this interview and to sort of share my experiences. I was really excited and looking forward to this. I think it's going to be great, and it's going to really allow other people who are wanting to work in for SLM, or even thinking of joining your mentorship program. It's going to be really good. So, got a lot of golden nuggets to drop and share, and pretty much give you like a lowdown of how it all happened.
Nice. And that's the most important thing. We want you guys to walk away from this interview with a lot of value and a lot of credible information that Manny's got stored away. So hopefully you can share some of those secrets with us, my friend. So what I wanted to ask you is just a little bit about your journey, about just before you kind of got started working with us. Walk us through a bit about what that journey was like and how eventually you got to us.
Yeah, so pretty much it all happened before COVID. I was kind of like just really confused. I was running a digital marketing agency. One of my biggest skill sets was actually delivering results for business owners through Facebook ads. And that was my sort of main expertise over the years. And I became really skilled at that. But what I was missing really was actually demanding payments, because I always saw people post screenshots of $1,000 days, $2,000. And I was like, that time charging people, anywhere from $100 to even $10. So I needed something where I could really demand $1,000, $2,000 high ticket. So I always wanted to know how I can go into that. And that's kind of like when it all started, when I started seeing screenshots of what you were posting, and I kind of really became intrigued, because like I said, I had no real direction, but all I know, I was good at Facebook ads. I was good at providing a service, but I just didn't know how to put it in a form of an offer.
Got you.
And Manny,
sorry, go ahead.
Just to quickly dive deeper on that point, you mentioned you were selling a lot of low ticket offers. I think there's a lot of people in the same position as you. How would you say selling low ticket offers affected your business when you was doing that?
I think one thing I've found is selling a low ticket offer, you would require a lot of hours on the computer, a lot of planning. And I was actually thinking, you know what? I've created another job, because on the one hand, I was escaping the 9 to 5s of this world. And at the same time, I had a lot of bills to pay. But for me, it was a case of just sitting hours and hours on the computer, creating the best product in the world, and then just slapping like a $10, $15, a few upsells along the way, and thinking, oh, you know what? I'm going to wake up overnight. I want to make a lot of sales. And you know what happened? Nothing happened. I'd probably make a couple of sales. I'd probably get excited, doing these product launches. But then it got to me where I was questioning myself. I was actually questioning my skills. I thought, you know what, maybe it's me. People are not buying. And then I realized maybe just looking into it further, it was actually finding a way forward and just learning how to really deliver my offer and putting it together so I can package it up and charge high. I just didn't know what that missing link was.
Yeah, definitely. And just to quickly add on to that point before you say something, Z, I think a lot of people are in that same position, man, where they have the best offer and they've got so much time, energy, and money invested into it, but they just don't see the fruits of their labor because they're underselling themselves. And that's a limiting belief, lack of confidence, and just missing the right plan of action. You know what I mean?
100%. I did
100%.
suffer from a lot of information overload where I was buying courses. I was trying to learn how to brand myself, position myself, but it kind of like was a more of a cookie cutter approach where what I really needed was somebody to sort of show me in simple terms rather than watching hours and hours of video, because that just was confusing me. And I knew in myself that I had a good offer where I knew that what I was offering to for businesses and clients, it was working because they were getting results. I was getting results for my business in terms of running ads. But what I really needed was I wanted to ask myself, how can I teach people and coach them and demand these $1,000 or even $500 would be a lot for me that time, because like I said, I was just charging low and I just needed that real big missing link to put it all together.
Yeah, no, I got you. So just to summarize that, so basically, so just before you got with us, you was obviously trying to sell these low ticket offers. You knew you had a valuable skill set, obviously running Facebook ads and helping businesses deliver leads. However, you just found like an issue with getting those clients and also having the confidence and the ability to package up a high ticket offer, and get the value that you paid for. So just based off that, man, tell us a bit more about the stage of working with us, and what sort of changed for you over that process from there.
Yeah, for me, the turning point was just after COVID, because I was really confused. I was either go back to a 9 to 5 or reevaluate what I'm doing. So I remember having a conversation with Z that time,
Mm.
and I think the first thing you asked me, Z, is what is your offer? And I literally froze. And I said, well, this is what I'm doing. I'm running Facebook ads. But he asked me the question again. He goes, Manny, what is your offer? I'm like, I don't know what my offer is. So he's like, he agreed to sort of get on a call with me. And again, what happened to me was I was very hesitant because like I was going through a lot of issues financially. Then I needed this to work, right? So I was hesitant to say, look, I tried to divulge away from the conversation, but and again, it was my limiting belief because that was in my head, and I'm thinking, what's my missus going to say if I invest this money? Is it really going to work? And I remember having a conversation with my missus that time, and she said, look, if this is the guy that's going to help you, you're going to take that leap of faith. So I said, okay, let's get on a call and explain more on how I can deliver an offer, because I was really fascinated when Z was posting these screenshots, and I'm like, what is he selling? It's certainly not is something illegal. It's not crack or anything like that. So I thought, you know what? I need to have a conversation. I need
Yeah.
to get this done. And for me, that was the turning point. That message, and I've still got the message in my archive folder. I think it was just before COVID, that message, and that really was the turning point. And the rest is history.
Yeah,
And Manny, you
nice.
know what? Just to speak on that point there, I think there's so many people that are watching this right now whose partners aren't as supportive as maybe your partner was, right? And their partner might tell them, "Well, listen, it's a risky decision, and don't do this because you spent money here." What kind of advice do you have for someone like that, especially considering that you also have to think about your partner when making the decision?
I think when you're in that situation, you have to really be honest. I think honesty and transparency is the key, especially with your partner, because when you have a sporting partner who can believe in you and your business, it's like a winning formula. But if you kind of like, try to do things alone where you're not communicating with your partner, then it's like you're hiding things. And from my experience, it's not gonna it's done really bad in the past because when I've done something and I've not discussed it. So I think when you have that support system and a support mechanism, not just from your partner, but also your family, because your family believe in you, the people around you that you can trust, close friends. And obviously when you have that support system around you, it becomes easy. And then from my point of view, it really was a big shift in my mindset, because I was looking at all of these screenshots and people. I was too busy what other people were doing, but I wasn't really focusing on what I was doing, what I would really need to do to make it happen. So for me, it was like, I need to get this phone call. I need to speak to Z exactly what he has to say, and whether it makes sense to me, I'm going to do it. And that was for me, was like, okay, get it done, get that phone call. Otherwise, the old me was have just ignored it. I would have avoided it. I would have kind of like done the same thing I was already doing, which is create another offer, slap a low price tag, and expect a bunch of sales. And I was like, you know what? I can't do this for the rest of my life. It's either this or either just get back into a 9 to 5.
That makes sense. Got you. So what? After that period of time, you started working with us. How long did it take you to see results? Question one. And question two, what challenges did you have along the way before you obtained those results?
Yeah, good question. So for me, the biggest challenge for me was, okay, I've created this really good offer. I've got a funnel, a VSL. For me, it was like I sucked at one thing, which was selling. Like I never really sold a high ticket offer on the phone the proper way. Obviously, you can have a consultation with people and say, we are the best company in the world. But then the biggest turning point for me was watching Mehdi. And that's when I become the way he was closing, the way he was structuring, the way he was delivering, just from the free content both of you were giving away in the group. I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like, people would charge an enormous amount of information for that content, and you guys were like just giving away for free. And I'm like, you know what? Just from the free content that you guys were delivering, I was getting results in the form of leads. But I'm like, you know what? It's already good getting leads, having conversations. And for me, the challenge, and I remember sending Z a message. I said, look, Z, I've got a call booked for next week. I said, will you close it? Or will anybody you close it for me? And Z said, no, you got to do it yourself. I said, oh, shit. I said, really? You got to do it first? I was like, I remember the day, bunch of notes, pen, paper. I was writing everything, right? And my first call was actually with, believe it or not, with a 75-year-old man in Manchester. My first ever high ticket sale that I made after 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks. What Z taught me, everything I did, everything, the VSL, put everything together. And in just 2 weeks, I got my first, and it was $1,000. For me, that was big. For me, it's like the most important $1,000 ever. I remember it being really cold. It was 4:30, and it was really cold outside. And I thought, and he said yes. He's like, what? Do you want to go with it? And I thought, like, the call didn't even go really well. For me, it was like I was shuffling papers, and it was a Zoom call. He could see me, I could see, and I was like, okay, I was just reading off the script, but then it sounded more. It sounded like a robot. I thought, you know what? I need to calm down. I need to be myself. Take a deep breath. So I remember sending him the invoice, the payment link, $1,000, and he said, look, it's paid. When can we get started? And that's when I thought, you know what? This works. This fucking works. I was like, yes, I did it. So that was the turning point for me. Yeah.
100%. And you know what? I've got one question on that, Manny. So, I think what your message is you could suck at sales, right? Because you used to close $10 deals, which doesn't take much effort. Most people spend $10 to throw away that money. And you went from closing $10 sales to $1,000 sales, not even being 100% confident on what you were doing. But it's, like you said, Z helped you put together the perfect VSL. We walk you through the right sort of sales training, and now you're on the phone and you close your first $1,000 sale in 2 weeks, man. That is massive.
Yeah. For me, it was like I just couldn't believe it. And I remember telling my wife, I said, I made my first high ticket sale working with the guy I, thought invested in. And he said, keep going. Her words were, don't use this to get a big ego. She goes, keep going. Just do it. Just do it. Like Nike would say, just do it. Just keep going. And I said, okay. And I knew there'd be big, dusty roads ahead where sometimes not every sale will close. That's fine. But then I was able to handle rejection after rejection, and I thought, how can I craft my offer? How can I become even better at closing? Then I remember speaking to Mehdi a few times. The conversation, Z brought Mehdi in on a Zoom call, and then Mehdi went through some structure. And I remember watching it. I literally remember writing word for word everything he said. Every time kept pausing. So like a 1 hour video, I spent about 3 4 hours just dissecting what Mehdi told me. Like number one, how to build rapport, and number two, how to get into the questions and everything, and finding out exactly what they need, and how you can towards the middle give enough value so they trust you, and then towards the end just deliver, tailor your offer in such a way, overcome the objections, and before you know it, they're signing, they're buying from you. And then for me, that was just amazing. Like I spent so many money in the past on courses. I've lost count how much money, like literally 50, $60,000, a lot of money. But I never got anything from them other than watch a bit of video, do this, do that. And from that conversation we had, I had so much value. And I was like, this is exactly what I needed. And I didn't even need any 6 or 7 calls. I needed, I think, 2 or 3 calls from Z and a bit of coaching from you. And that was like, yeah, this is great.
Definitely.
Got you.
Oh.
Calm. So I got one more question just on this. So I know you mentioned to me, your wife was really pushing you. She was very supportive, and obviously trying to get you to stick on to what you was doing that was working. And I feel like this is a very, very important point to drive home, because a lot of people are very often defeated by victory. So what that means is someone gets results in this industry. They might make a sale or 2 sales, and then they go out and then they start spending that money, and then they don't do anything to reinvest back into their education or grow it even further. And I've seen this countless times from people that have success in a short period of time and start failing along the way. So this was very, very different in terms of yourself. When you started to have success and started to ride off that momentum, what sort of results did you generate over the next 3 months working with us in that business?
Yeah, results I've never really would have imagined. I mean, I was getting like literally 10K months, 15K, which I did within 5 days. And I remember telling Z, I've got another sale and another sale. And then he's like, keep going. So I remember just posting screenshots of sales. And honestly, for me, one thing I really learned from Z was he said, you know what, just save that money. He said, don't. The tendency would be to spend it, but said if you're smart, you would save that money and you would reinvest it back into your business, improve your VSL. Maybe you would hire a VA, and I did all that. And then I thought, you know what, this is what it is to work smarter and work less hours, but you're working smarter in the sense that you're slowly building a business for the long term. And then for me, it was like the numbers were good and I was feeling really good. And then, one thing Mehdi said was results attract results. Because if you have results, automatically your confidence grows. People are drawn to your results, and then you create this aura around you where everybody wants to know what you're doing, how you're doing it. They love your energy. And for me, the biggest thing for me was I learned is the mindset is the key, because you have your days where it wouldn't work and you have people who don't support you. And for me, it was like just being on that road. And then it summed it up when I was in London, when I closed my first ever 10K offer, paid in full. And that's what you guys came. And I remember having a conversation with Mehdi and Z, and I said I did a 10K paid in full. And I remember you guys shaking my hand, and that was, for me, that was just a turning point. I'm like, that is a big, and it was a London hotel, so I paid. I had a suite, so I thought, you know what, best to spoil myself with some of my sales. I'm going to just book a suite. And remember, just being in that room alone. It was 10:30 in the evening, and the guy said, "Look, let's do it. Paid in full, and that was a 10K." And that was like, for me, it was like, you know what, this is great. And that was my personal challenge, where I'd say, you know what, how are people closing 10K from a paid in full? And then when I did it, I was like, I can do anything. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? I've got a couple of questions to ask you now. First of all, massive congratulations, bro. $10,000 in a day. That must have felt insane, right? So, to go from $10 to 1,000 times that.
100%. Yeah, it makes you feel
How long did
invincible.
you spend? Yeah, it does, man. Because you learn a skill and then you realize you have that skill for the rest of your life. And in any situation, you can use that skill, right? So one question I want to ask you is how long did you spend on that sales call to make $10,000?
Okay, so I remember spending at least a good amount of 45 minutes on that sales call uh, to spend to get speaking to that prospect. But here's the thing: what I noticed is it's not really the duration of the call, or it's not even what you say. It's how you understand your prospect's pains to see exactly what they're looking for. And another thing I learned is the right prospect will actually pay 10k or even 15k for help, because we go to a doctor, and when we're really desperate for something, we'll go the extra mile to find that money. So I remember speaking to this prospect, and when I sort of said 10k, he didn't even flinch. The fact that he didn't even flinch, because I said it with such confidence, and I believed, if you believe in your offer, if you believe in yourself, then it kind of like rubs off from the other person. And I remember him saying, okay, let's make it happen. And the objections that he gave me, I handled them really well. And for me, it was like, okay, great feeling, but I can do more. I can do more,
Do you know what? I want to say two things on this. The first thing I want to say is, first of all, $10,000 in 45 minutes, Manny. There's not a lot of people that get to sit there and say that. And I want to say the second thing, and this is one thing I respect about you all the time, bro. And it's whenever you sit down with myself, you sit down with Z, you've always been extremely coachable, right? And I noticed this because the night before that, by this point, you're already making sales. You've already had like a $10,000 month working with us, $15,000 in 5 days. And I remember we were sitting at the cafe the night before, after the event, and you're asking questions like, bro, when this prospect says this, how do you answer this? How do they say this? And you're just asking questions to just learn and learn and learn. And you're sitting there as a student, and you're always absorbing that information, man, which I definitely respect about you a lot, man.
Yeah, I've always been a student in the game, and you two have definitely had a big sort of impact in my life, and that's why learning all the time. And you can make $1 million tomorrow, but I think we're always students in the game, because we're always excelling and learning, and even like the littlest details, like having just one book, Jordan Belford book that you guys have recommended from the start, and just reading that from cover to cover, dissecting that information on YouTube, and then seeing how it all works, and understanding keywords like looping, understanding things like, how every sale is the same. It's just the prospect you have to understand, they need something, and you're the person that's going to offer it. It's just how you're going to get them to the finishing line, because every sale is on a straight line, which is why you guys named straight line mentorship, because then it kind of goes really well with the whole sort of ideology of sales. Everything that we're doing online, we're selling, right? I close my daughter. My daughter closes me all the time, to buy her something, buy her this. She wants Heelys shoes. She goes, don't forget my Heelys shoes for Eid. So I've got to make sure I get them. So every time, what I've noticed is the nuggets that you guys provided, I always make a special folder. I've got a folder for Mehdi, I've got a folder for Z, and it's there. And it's like, you know what? I always go back to that. And I'm thinking, this is how it all started. If I'm having days where it's not working, I've got to always go back and see how I can sort of improve, because I'm always a student in the game.
Nice. All right, cool. So just to wrap this up, man, appreciate you coming on. And obviously, congratulations again. Massive, massive congratulations to all your success and more to come as well. Just to wrap this up, what advice would you have for anyone who's maybe sitting on the fence about investing into themselves, or just growing as an entrepreneur in general, that maybe had similar setbacks and hurdles as yourself, man?
I would say is don't be afraid to go out there. Don't be afraid to really express yourself. And one thing I would say is, the more transparent you are about your life and your struggles, people respond to that. Because sometimes I thought, you know what, it's not always about wearing a certain tie or suit in a camera and just express yourself as an authority. You all really need is your mindset, your skill sets. And one thing I always advise is just learn sales, because that is a skill set for life. And if you learn how to speak to people and you can sell to them, it doesn't have to be a battle, because sales is one of those skill sets that if you learn how to really express yourself, you're able to sell anything. And for me, that was like the biggest skill I've learned, where, I even closed a sale at 3 o'clock at night whilst I was in bed, that again was a result of what you guys taught me. I was on the phone, and I remember that for me it was like things crazy stuff can happen, but each time you go out there and do something, one thing I'll give people advice is you're gonna fail, but that's fine, that's okay. You can always go back to your failures and say this is where I went wrong. The second time you might fail again, but it's gonna be better. And then the third time you might hit that home run or that slam dunk, but you've got it right. And then you consider, see, you know what? It's working. It's working. That first sale is the most important sale. I mean, if I can do it with $1,000 sale, and prior to that, I didn't really sell any high ticket sales. I was doing $100 here, charging by the hour, and that $1,000 sale for me was a turning point for me. I'll never forget it, but it was because of my belief and the fact that I didn't give up.
Got you. Perfect, man. Manny, again, congratulations, bro. We appreciate you coming on here, sharing this value, and taking time out of your day to do this, man. So we really, really appreciate that, bro. Yeah, Mehdi, anything else other than that?
Thank you so much, Manny, man. And just to quickly summarize, I think if Manny's life can change exponentially over a 60-minute phone call with myself and Z, and if he learned one skill from that, that shaped the rest of how he lives his life, the rest of the income he's going to make for the rest of his life, I think it's a very, very important lesson to learn and just take on board. And, you know, if you guys are looking for the best sales advice, look no further than myself and Z.
There you go. There you go. There you have it. All right, cool. Manny, appreciate you, man. And we'll speak to you very soon. Have a good day, man.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care.
So as always, as you can see, man, it all boils down and it all comes back to the same fact of working with the right people. Because I remember having a 60-minute conversation with Manny over Zoom, and after that conversation I started to receive DMs. Hey man, made another $1,000 today. Hey man, made another $3,000 today. And I remember when him and I had met at the event, Z, myself and Manny and a few of our other friends and clients went out to a cafe, and he was just absorbing information, just asking me questions, just being extremely coachable. And by the end of it, we met in the hotel lobby the next day after the event, and he came and shook my hand. And I said, well, what is it, Manny? You know, what is it that you want to share with me? And, you know, he pulls out his phone and he shows me his Stripe account, and he's silent. He's just looking at me. And he showed me $10,000 in a day. And at that moment, I couldn't be more proud of Manny and his achievements and his persistence, because I remember seeing him literally grow from being someone that was just not even confident to taking his first sales call, literally asking Z, will you guys take my first sales call for me, to now being the guy that can generate $10,000 in 45 minutes. And if that isn't a life-changing transformation, then I don't know what is. But if you guys enjoy client interviews like this, smash that subscribe button and comment below. What kind of videos would you like to see next? I'm open to sharing as much value with you guys as possible. I'm at a subscriber count of maybe 600 subscribers at the time of watching this, so I don't even get paid to make these YouTube videos. I genuinely get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I genuinely get a lot of fulfillment out of just sharing value to you guys. So whatever it is that you want to see more content on, let me know in the comments. I'd love to create a video around one of those topics.